Hello, and welcome to the 44th episode of Cinema Effect. I'm not Zach, I'm Liam, and this week we have a very special guest with us. We kept them a big secret from the audience, from you guys. It's the god of gaming himself, the god of games, Sir Kez. Hello.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Liam. Hello, everyone. How are you all today? I was grinning the whole time. That was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're honoured you could come to the show. And
Yeah.
as always, we've also got Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
Okay.
Hello.
Wow, that one didn't even show up on the soundbar. That was really quiet. Alright.
James is so pissed off at that intro. He was just, man, what was that?
Yeah.
And today we're doing the Bourne Identity, the first in the Bourne franchise. 2002 action film by Doug Liman. Stars Matt Damon, Frank Batante, Chris Cooper, and a lot of other good peoples, Clive Owen, Julia Stiles, etc. And is about a guy who has all these amazing abilities and doesn't have any recollection of his past. I forgot to do the promotions, didn't I?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. You can do it now. It's fine. Just do it.
Don't forget to subscribe to Cinema Effect. And, follow us on Instagram and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything. If you're not following on everything, it doesn't really count, so do that.
Mm.
And yeah, so without further ado, I'll go with Zach first.
There's a question.
Oh shit. Yes, you're right. Question of the week, which I didn't just forget. Do you still buy DVDs? And what was the last one you got? So answer that in the comment section down below, and we'll read them out next week. Okay. So Zach, this is your first rewatch of the film, right? The only one you've seen in the franchise?
That's correct. Yep. I've now seen this one twice, but I'm going in blind in the future.
Cool. So what did you think of the Bourne Identity?
I think the Bourne Identity is fine. I think it's fine. I have many issues with it. It has enjoyable elements and scenes and moments that I think, but none that quite, stand up to, I think, what we think about in the action genre and the spy genre, especially these days. And that's going to be a common theme for me throughout this whole thing of trying to compare this to where it stands, because I do think it sort of has somewhat legendary status in the genre these days. If people think of spy films, Mission Impossible and the Bourne films, and maybe it changes later on, but this one doesn't really live up to that for me, despite the things I do like about it. I think some of the characters are weak, and I think some of the stories are a bit weird to me, but I don't know. From a modern perspective, I don't love it, but it's enjoyable enough for me.
Very cool. Okay, Jaden. You're in the same boat, aren't you, Jaden? Your first one you've seen in first rewatch, right?
Yeah, and then haven't seen the rest. I think the way it sounds, I feel a bit better about it than Zach, but I'm still not entirely on board. It's more action than a Bond, and I kind of like that about it because it still feels pretty similar in all the other stuff that of a traditional action film, spy thriller, and all that stuff. But then again, comparing it to other ones like Mission Impossible, which I'd say are similar in the category, I think I'd prefer those over that. But I still think there's a lot of merit to this. But yeah.
What do you think?
What did I think? I hated the movie. Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh.
No. I can see why someone would see this, look at this, and kind of not be awed by it in the same way as something like Mission Impossible Fallout or Rogue Nation or something like that, or just think it was, kind of standard affair in terms of action films these days. But no, I really love this film. I think the character drama at its heart, and just Matt Damon's performance as this, confused person with all these random, special abilities is just really great. Watching him figure out things and do things was just really satisfying to me. And yeah, apart from that, I just really loved a lot of different elements of the film, like the score, like the car chase scene, and the ending music, and just the kind of the lo-fi kind of lighting in this film. Just I just loved a lot of elements of it. Just found it really watchable. So,
can lighting be described as lo-fi?
I couldn't think of another word, but probably
low key.
Low key, yeah.
I think that's the one that we used to use. Is it?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because isn't lo-fi to do with sound?
We understood what he meant.
Yeah, I mean, like I understood, but
yeah, it might be to do with sound actually. Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, the lighting just felt like it was very light. Like there was no like stark colors during the film. Like the film's like kind of
monochromatic,
easy on the eyes. Yeah, monochromatic.
Mm.
Yeah. The action, I thought the action was really. I thought it was like really brisk and clean, but not like disorientating. I was a big fan of the action.
Right. Yeah. I like it sort of. I think the movie has, when we talk about the very first glimpse we get at the action in the film, and it's just the brief moment where Matt Damon's sitting there on the park bench and the two German dudes come over and he like just instinctively can combat them with his, martial arts or whatever. I thought that was really cool. It's only like 5 seconds long, but just the way the choreography of it is really snappy, and the way it's sped up, really obviously in the edit, is really great. And it's not something I really see in modern action films in terms of editing. We see a lot of, quick cutting is the biggest sin of action, really, generally. And then, we see a lot of, I don't know, close up, hard to see shots. But this is kind of a different take on that. It's sort of its own style of just really speeding up the action. And I like that, but it just doesn't go hard enough into it for me, if that makes any sense. I think, the moment in the bank I really like a lot too. But so that's sort of the thread. I like it a lot earlier in the movie, but then I don't know, as we go on, it loses me a bit. I would love to see that sped up style in the edit sort of more reflected in the future films, because I didn't get enough of it here, and I think it's got potential. But I did also really like the car chase as well. That was in Paris, wasn't it, or was that in London? That was in Paris.
Yeah, Paris.
It was in Paris. Yeah. No, I like that scene a lot too. But I do generally I dislike it the further it gets on. I dislike the third act. So yeah, I'm sort of mixed on it, but I think it's got potential.
Were you saying it wasn't? You didn't feel it was like fast? They didn't take use of that like fast-paced kind of style that they were going for. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then from memory, the only real blown out version of that we get later on is in his apartment when the dude jumps through the window and we have that whole scene. I hate the sound design in the movie. I think it's garbage. I really do. And it's a shame because it kind of ruined the scene for me a little bit.
Okay.
So I don't know. It was like, I can see what they're going for and I appreciate it, particularly with the hand-to-hand stuff I'm talking about here particularly, because there's not a whole lot else. There's not really extensive gunfights or anything in this movie. You've really just got the vehicle stuff and you got the hand-to-hand stuff. And I like the hand-to-hand stuff. Sound design ruined it for me, and I would have liked more of it without the bad sound design.
I didn't notice anything really about the sound design that I didn't like or did like. What stood out for you guys?
I just think it's super. It suffers from the Kill Bill thing for me, where it's just super cartoony. It just sounds like it belongs in a 90s parody of an action film. And in Kill Bill, like, I hate it in Kill Bill as well, but in Kill Bill, like, it's clearly the point. That's the style that Tarantino's going for in that film. It still doesn't work for me at all, but at least there it sort of feels stylistically consistent, whereas here it just feels out of place in a world that feels like it's sort of trying to build this gritty spy, aesthetic with no one really knows who there are and these slimy organizations and stuff. It just felt out of place to me.
I remember this was 2002 though, so it was only like 2 years out of the 90s, so You have to give
That's
it some
fair.
leeway.
That's fair.
It's a plus
That's fair.
minus 5
Mission
years.
Impossible. Yeah, true. That's true. Actually, Mission Impossible. I don't believe ever fell into the trap though. So
Yeah, but I think that's because the first one was less action, more spy thriller, and the second one was,
yeah,
it had that Hong Kong director, and I think like because of that, like you never really heard those sounds because it was just very different again. And then by the time 2006 rolled around for Mission Impossible 3, you didn't need them anymore. So I think don't think you can compare the two on that aspect. I mean, you can, of course you can, you always can, but
don't tell me what I can and can't do.
yeah.
No, that's a good point though. It is very close to the 90s. I wish the filmmakers had a bit more. I don't know, put a bit more effort into that in terms of making it fit with the rest of what they're going for. You know what I mean? This isn't a 90s, soapy action thing. It just isn't in any other way except that. So it just feels off to me.
It's interesting that you point out the sound design in that scene because like that scene I was going to praise it, but like not for that reason, but like because like when they're in the apartment, it's all quiet. You can actually hear like cars on the street.
Sure.
And like I'm not sure if it's just something I don't really notice in movies often, or if like this is like one of a few examples that actually like go to the effort of adding that sound. And I was like, it feels very lived in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or it could have also been cars outside my house, and I just couldn't tell the difference. But who knows?
You clearly live on such a busy street, though.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point though, because I can sort of picture that scene having just sort of low dramatic score instead in place of what they did do. So it's different.
So, what do you guys think of this soundtrack? Is it kind of, do you feel the same about it as you do the sound design, Zach?
No, I like the score a lot actually. It's nothing amazing, it's not tremendously unique. It's pretty standard, I suppose, for what you'd imagine this film to be, but it just works. It just fits for me. It's got a lot of cool sort of building moments. At the moment, I like the shot a lot where old mate Jason walks out of the boat and he just walks into the street and then like vanishes.
Oh yeah,
Just a cool shot. But like there, if I recall correctly, there's some cool score building. I'm feeling some ominous stuff is a brewing in this film. So no, I liked it a lot. It was a positive for me. Yeah.
that like entire introduction scene with him, of him, walking into some random street and trying to figure out who he is, what's happening. There's hardly any dialogue or like, I don't think there's any dialogue in that scene. It's just really, it shows us into his state of mind and what's happening, really effectively without, explaining or saying anything.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, it sounded like that was sort of the main thing you liked about the movie, Fitzy, when you talked about your overall thoughts, and I generally agree with you. I do. That's probably my favorite part of the movie too. Just the way that him throughout the entire thing trying to piece together who he is, and he gets thrown a few curveballs like all the different passports and the whole John Michael Caine thing. Shout out to Michael Caine, but that was really cool. And he went to the meeting as John Michael Caine, and there was a few threads there that he was following. And then I like how that sort of all led to him finding out who he is and the Treadstone conversations. That was also my favorite part of the movie as it pertained to Jason himself.
Very nice. What were you gonna say, Jaden?
It was to do with the score, and it was like it was in the scene just before he goes to that meeting as John Michael Caine. But as he's in the elevator, like the score like has this like really frantic string sound, and it sounds like almost like an unraveling, as if there was like meant to be like a big sequence or like some kind of big set piece at that moment, like a big unfolding, unraveling, or a big reveal. But then like it kind of does like nothing with it, and like it just left me a bit bewildered. But like
To me, I really like that aspect of the film, because I think it's trying to get you in Jason Bourne's mind, in his head state, which is kind of a bit frantic, and he doesn't know who to trust or where his feet is, or if he walks into this building, if they'll call security and the cops on him, or if they'll know him, and kind of thing. So I mean, the whole film kind of feels like it is trying to achieve that a bit with the Bourne and Marie's side. Like if you compare the shots of the CIA, it's kind of very, still and very stable, and then the rest of the film is kind of a lot of handheld and a lot of I think shots and score trying to make you feel a bit uneasy, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I do appreciate that, but it's just that in that scene where it seems so prevalent and like that, it kind of seemed like emphasized, like nothing big came out of it.
No, that's
Took you out of it in the moment.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah.
I mean, like it's not a big complaint, it's like it's a 4-second soundbite in the middle of the film, but like it was enough for me to like be like,
Join the nitpick squad.
yeah.
Yeah. So even though Bourne's like kind of a blank slate kind of character, I guess. I really enjoyed his character in this film. He's very egoless, I guess. I mean, especially when you compare him to, Ethan Hunt and James Bond and all that. He's just a very normal individual who has these skills and who's going through this situation. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the film, watching him, and I think Damon just plays him, his confused young kind of puppy dog, like lost puppy dog face is really great. But yeah.
Yeah. Matt Damon is really good. I enjoy him a lot in the movie, but and to what you're saying, I like it. All feels consistent with the fact that what he's told towards the end of the movie is that he's just a human weapon. That's all he is. He's sort of this blank slate in terms of being an individual person. Yeah, exactly like you said, against other protagonists in the genre. I like that about him too, 100%. I hope that sort of, I want to see him develop in the future films, but I hope that sort of stays with him. I don't want to see him become like some cocksure, character.
Just like while speaking about the character, like with like the amnesia stuff, like I had no quarrels with it up until like the final confrontation where like it just got a bit annoying when like he's like with Chris Cooper's character and he's like, who am I, what are you, and all that stuff, and like in that moment where they're both like playing oblivious, and then like it just pushed over the edge of like, all right, now this little aspect has gotten annoying for me, because throughout the film it doesn't really hinder too much, but in that scene it just feels like there's so much clashing back and forth just over that one detail of like, oh, you remember, stop playing ignorant, no I don't, and like that just pissed me off.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene much at all, really. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that point, but just I think that is sort of meant to be the climax of the movie, and I didn't find it tremendously satisfying. There wasn't any sort of great revelation or understanding for us as the audience to understand about Bourne that we didn't already, and I appreciate that it's a moment for him as a character, and that's fine, but I don't know, I would have liked at least something to kind of latch onto about his past that I wasn't aware of. But the only thing that we get sort of close to that, if I remember correctly, is when he's told that, which was already obvious throughout the movie, but he was part of the boat heist to kill Wombosi. But we learned that he failed that mission. He couldn't do it because of the most generic reason ever, that, there was a kid in the room and he couldn't pull the trigger because there was a kid there. Like, I strongly dislike that as a story moment, as a story choice in the movie. I just feel super bland and generic, and I don't know, it just feels that it's nothing particular to him as a character as to why that would sort of be a foil, other than just the idea that he has humanity, because you can kind of apply that trait to any protagonist in any film ever. I couldn't pull the trigger because he felt bad.
To be fair on the movie's behalf, though, like early in the film when they're at the farm and like just before Qui-Gon like comes along, like he's shown interacting with the kids, like playing on the swing or whatever, and like like he's actually shown to like enjoy time with them. So like
that's true.
It's balls all over the thread, but there is a thread there.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is set up well. I agree with that. But yeah, no, it is nonetheless sort of still, it's not super compelling,
Yeah, I thought that reveal, it is really cliche. But I did think that it fit his character and his arc in the film, which is someone who's discovered who he was and is now rejecting his past self. The further the movie goes along, and yeah, he's seen interacting with the kids and trying to develop some kind of relationship. He's trying to live more of a normal life, I guess. He's trying to reject that, that high octane spy life. So I kind of thought that did fit in with that a bit, but yeah, when the actual reveal happened, and well, they're basically telling us this is the reason that he has amnesia, which doesn't really make sense by itself. That was a bit weak, so I do agree there.
I mean, like, I know it's sort of like the whole main character having amnesia thing generally within storytelling is sort of cliche, but I don't think I've actually experienced many stories like that. I think that's just a coincidence by what I've read and watched and stuff. So I enjoy that aspect of the movie genuinely because my understanding is that it is fairly tropey, especially in I think it's like a pretty common thing in anime, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm making that up, or in Japanese stuff, I don't know. But I enjoyed it because the whole idea of this main character finding out who he is sort of new to me.
Have you not seen Memento?
Yeah.
Oh, fair. It is a bit different, but
I know.
But yeah, no, that's a good point. You're not wrong.
Yeah, but I don't think I've seen this in a spy thriller film. And that gives you that dichotomy of Bourne being really, a blank slate, a confused character who doesn't know who he is, but also having these wild abilities, which was fun to watch and see him discover and utilize.
With that, I loved just the scene in the diner where he mentions how he just knows everything about these random little details for no reason. He can't figure out why, like how much the dude weighs and all that other stuff, and where there's guns and stuff. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's such a short bit of dialogue, but that really lets you into his mind a lot and lets you know how skilled he is and how confident he is. So yeah.
Can we bring up Marie?
Sure. So some are you? I saw that some people have a problem with Marie. Is that where you're coming from?
I have a big problem with Marie. I think this character's not very good. Yes.
Really?
Yes. What's her name? Frank or something? Is that her name?
Frank Potento? Yeah.
Her performance is fine. It's fine. The only fault I would give her is that I just don't think she has a tremendous amount of chemistry with Matt Damon. But that's all forgivable to me on the superficial side of things in terms of what I'm visually seeing her do. Like, it's fine. Just in the story, her character, it feels inconsistent and sort of all over the place to me when she, I don't know. Like, I understand someone in that situation would obviously freak out by having all these people die around her and being in the situation she's in, but when they pull up out the front of the hotel and Bourne's like, there's clearly police there, and Bourne's like, yo, we gotta go. And she understands the situation they're in, and she still just freaks out, and she's like, why am I following you? Why am I listening to you? And it just felt like such a forced moment of artificial tension to me, because then they resolve it like a minute later. Like, I don't know if I needed that. That was a bit annoying, but I don't know. It's and it's just sort of unclear to me how attached she is to Bourne or not. I feel like sometimes she's like terrified of him and sort of like stay away from me, and other time, and she kind of becomes a big fan of him, falls in love with him, sort of, I guess, in that house with the dude where the dude's house, she knows there. They sort of hang out there for a bit. But then I feel like when they leave, she switches to like, what does she say to him? She says something to the effect of like, I want to stay with you. Don't let me go by myself or whatever, and I'm going to stay. The character switch was a bit abrupt for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I do think when she got the most angry with him, and when he was like banging against like the door and telling her to listen to him and everything, that was when she learned that he was actually an assassin. So, I mean,
Oh, okay.
she probably should have known that already. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, since that apartment, like when a guy comes swinging through your window with a automatic weapon, I mean, like, what do you think he's doing for his work? And that's why like that later scene pissed me off because like, she's like, oh, you kill people, whatever. Like, you should have known that. You should have known he was part of something like this.
yeah.
Yeah. A bit outside of being, nitpicky towards certain moments, I don't buy their relationship. At the end of the movie when he goes back to her in Greece, it's meant to be this ending of like, oh, Grey Bourne's gonna settle down, he's gonna find his peace, he's gonna hang out with this, his partner here, the person that he loves now or whatever. The relationship was just so nothing to me. I was much more invested in Bourne himself. I would have found an ending where he did something by himself way more satisfying, than, oh, great, you go back to this lady again,
I don't know, I bought the relationship. I don't know if that's... Maybe those aspects you mentioned kind of weighed more heavily on your like interpretation of the relationship than mine, or maybe just
Probably.
Maybe it was just a difference of buying, the chemistry in throughout most of the film. But I don't know. I really like how they go from strangers to friends, and just kind of whole series of from like not knowing each other to wanting to be together. But yeah, I think I was invested in the relationship, but I wasn't attached to it, if that makes sense. Like I didn't care too much if they were going to be together. I actually think Casino Royale's relationship between Bond and what's the character's name?
Vespa.
Vespa, yeah. That feels something that's a lot more. That's an example of something that feels a lot more authentic, and like they seem like more of a fit. But yeah, I did buy it, I guess. So.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Here's generic action trivia. Tom Cruise would be proud. Matt Damon climbed down the last 30 feet of the building himself. This is in the bank sequence without a stunt double. He called it, quote, the most grueling thing I had to do. So, go on you, Matt. We appreciate you. And this is worth mentioning because this series, series in quotes, we'll get into that, I guess, but as we go further on. But it's not a strict adaptation of the novels. There are novels of this franchise. So, at Doug Liman's instruction, who was the director, screenwriter Tony Gilroy did not read the Bourne Identity novel. Instead, he worked solely from an outline prepared by Liman. So, this is a very rough adaptation of the Bourne Identity novel. And then my understanding is, and this sort of made me interested in reading them, honestly. My understanding is that then, from this point on, there's zero connection to the novels, even though they share the same title.
That Matt Damon trivia is good, though, but it's not as impressive as, Tom Cruise trying not to get detected with a FedEx box or whatever the hell that trivia was for Collateral.
That was amazing. That still might be my top 3 favorite trivias on the show.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
Before you mentioned like that, the editing wasn't that much of an issue, but like, it's like, am I crazy in misremembering that? Like, but later on, like some of the editing was just dizzying. Like it was just too much. Was I alone in that, or was that?
Oh, I didn't really. No, yeah, I didn't notice it. Where in the movie exactly?
I can't recall at which point, but I just have this note saying that the editing is dizzying, and like I'm trying to remember like did I just like did I just misremember a sequence or something like that?
It is at times.
I'm just trying to think like what was a fast-paced sequence where it could have occurred. Actually, no, I think it was the flashbacks. I think it was a cross-cutting between between Damon confronting the CIA dude and it constantly going back and like they applied that filter and like it was like that flash and it was just too often and it was just coming in and out and like it was just.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, they love that flash. They use it a lot.
A really cool edit or shot in the film was for me was before the guy bursts in at the apartment. I think Damon's on the phone or something. Yeah, he's on the phone with the guy from the hotel. He's looking at the John Michael Caine, and the camera just kind of, yeah, I don't know what it does. It kind of pans around like some edge of the apartment or something for like a quick second, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it just kind of raises the tension before the guy even comes in, and there were little things like that in the film that kind of, put you into Bourne's kind of headset a bit.
Yeah. I like that stuff too, when he's walking around with a knife. And because we've already been set up with his extra, we've been told about his extra skills and senses and shit by that point. So he's on edge. I believe him. There's something going on. There's something afoot. And he has to like drop the knife into the floor, and the dude comes through the window. Yeah, I liked all that.
Oh, I loved the gunfight between Bourne and Clive Owen's character at the farm.
Oh yeah.
It I think it's kind of different from. This film is different from other action films in the sense that Bourne almost doesn't face something that challenges him. Like even this Clive Owen character, which we've kind of been led up to believe is menacing or at least very good at his job at assassinating people. Bourne just kind of finds the gun, walks out, shoots the barrel, and just runs into the forest. And that whole chase scene I thought was really great. Bourne's just like a very collected predator in that scene, in those kind of scenes, which is an aspect of him I really just enjoyed watching. I found it very just fun to watch.
For sure. I felt like in that scene I was more in the sniper's shoes than Bourne's, which was cool because when Bourne is throwing him off with the gunshots and the birds are flying around and quick cuts to the birds, and I'm like, Jesus, what the hell's happening here? Yeah. Shout out to Walton Goggins being in this movie. Just want to throw it out there. I was surprised. I like him a lot. Didn't say much, but oh well.
Yeah, I think the casting of even Julia Stiles is it's not something you'd expect from 10 Things I Hate About You, that this character could be really great in this role of just a female CIA agent. But I thought, even though she didn't play a massive role, she was really great. And Brian Cox as the CIA senior higher up guy. Yeah, they're really great. I
did like the. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you go.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, god damn it! It'd be embarrassing if I went back another time. I really like the CIA side of the plot, because not to harp on it, Marie's sort of annoying me a lot in the Bourne stuff. So when we come back to the CIA stuff, I just love how it's just so simple. It's just these dudes, and their interactions are cool, but it's just this thing of they just want to cover their asses. They've just felt like they've embarrassed themselves on this failed assassination. Their whole Treadstone project is a bit of a botch. And so that's literally all the movie is for them, is just them trying to get rid of all their loose ends. And I like that a lot. And I liked how they, even though Bourne wasn't assassinated or brought in, Bourne was free, they also effectively achieved that goal as well in the end. When they were in that final, government meeting or something, and he just passes over Treadstone. It's forget about that thing, whatever.
Yeah, he's lost to the files or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that guy that killed Chris Coop's character, is he going to be is he meant to be, do you know if he's meant to be the villain in the next one, or is he just going to be forgotten about?
Don't know.
I feel like he's going to be forgotten about, but I don't know.
Because he was also part of Treadstone, because now that that's gone, should he also be gone? Kind of my thinking. But then it's also if Treadstone's gone and they don't have to worry about that anymore, then what are the next films about? Because aren't they still hunting him in the next films? Yeah. I mean, this is also, I guess we'll find out soon, but yes.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Bourne does something to get on the radar again, or you know what I mean? Because I don't know why they'd sort of hunt him now. That seems pretty definitive.
Maybe they need to use him for something. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
The ending to this film, I've actually seen before. I realized halfway through while I was watching it. So Chris Cooper, dying to the assassin. Luckily, I didn't realize I'd seen that before when I saw it, but I thought that was really good. And then the ending back at the beach. So I have actually seen that before, but yeah, I really like Chris Cooper's his death. Covering up the guy who was trying to cover up his tracks, and kind of screwed everything up in the process. And Brian Koch just calling that was really satisfying, I guess. So yeah, it's a very simple ending, but I enjoyed it.
I was gonna say, like, it's like spy movies seem to love to use Europe as their like setting. I mean, like Mission Impossible is constantly there, Bond's all over the world. Tenet goes to a few different places, and obviously Bourne's between like the Mediterranean, France and Zurich and Switzerland or whatever. I don't know why, but like it just seems like all spy movies love Europe.
I sure do. I'm fine with that because I love Europe. So.
Oh yeah, they shoot it really well, and I think what they
Cool
do
with
is
me.
cool. But like I wonder if it's going to wear out by the time we get to the fourth Bourne film.
Where else can they go? Maybe they should go to Antarctica. Shoot some
Australia.
penguins.
You see, at least Mission Impossible had the audacity to come down here.
Yeah, never again though.
Yeah.
I do have I won't read the whole thing, but the shot I like of Bourne, like, walking into the world, and then the buggy moves past, and then he's gone. That cool shot. In fact, if you look carefully, Matt Damon like ducks behind the buggy, and he's like running behind it, to stay obscured.
Huh.
Which is pretty hilarious.
Cool.
Didn't notice it, thank God.
I don't really have anything else. Do you guys have anything else?
No, I'm good to move to scores if you guys are. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give it. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, just it's a really enjoyable film, and yeah, there's just a lot of elements I like about it. Just there's not one specific thing, but I think the core of it is just really great. Matt Damon's performance as this, confused character who's just, a mastermind is a lot of fun. So yeah. What about you, Zach?
I'll give it a 6. Yeah, I liked a lot about it. I did, but it is just true that the core relationship in the movie and the ending of the movie sort of just left me like, I like the CIA stuff, like I said, but when we're there on Greece, I'm just sort of like, okay, that was sort of the note the story left me on there, and it's what I was feeling most of the time when they were, when they were adventuring around the place too. Even though there's a lot to like in this movie, I recommend people check it out for sure. But generally, I do hope the franchise grows on me a bit more than this. Yeah.
What about you, Jaden?
It's a 7 in my books. I think it's a really good action film, but I just think like we're so spoiled for choice these days that you can pick and choose what you like, and you can complain about some stuff that maybe back in the day you could excuse a bit. I say back in the day, but it's like what? I mean, actually, it's a considerable time ago, I guess.
Yeah, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. So I guess for that reason, like it isn't higher because in modern day films and just comparing other stuff, there are better sequences, relationships, or storylines or whatever. But I still think it's very good. I think it excels in quite a few places. So so
that's a great way to word what I wasn't quite getting across. Sometimes I think is that it's just it is sort of does weigh down for me a bit just from a comparison perspective. We are spoiled for choice these days for sure. Yeah,
you always have to try and not compare, but it's just in your nature to compare, and like that's
yeah.
Because, I mean, you really should be taking everything on its own merit and without the knowledge of other films. But, like, it's difficult when you have seen these other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Do I take over for news? Do I have to do that? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the things written down, so.
Well, shit. All right. Thank you very much for doing that, Fitzy. So far, you're doing a great job.
That's right.
Everyone, it's me. I'm Zach. This is News Chat. First up, we got. I wrote here Harry Potter, as in 00, HBO Max series. Of course, in reference to Harry Potter, is getting a HBO Max series in early development. That is literally every shred of information we have on this. But, it's probably happening. It hasn't been officially greenlit, but you can expect it. It makes a ton of sense. What the hell can this show be? Is sort of where we can talk about it. Jaden, what do you want to see out of this show? Do we want to be prequel? Do we want to be Fantastic Beasts sort of spin-offs here? Do we want to go into the future? Do we want Daniel Radcliffe back? There are a lot of options.
Well, I haven't even considered Radcliffe coming back, but that'd be actually an interesting thing to see him like as an aura and stuff. But I guess I would be scared it goes too much into like cursed child stuff. But like, yeah. Honestly, I'd be happy if it is just a remake because like I adore I absolutely love the original franchise. I think I've spoken about it quite a few times I think in the past, but I think seeing it as like a multi-season show with each book getting like 8 episodes or something like that and really expanding on it and like kind of getting like a good HBO treatment of a massive budget and high quality stuff and like I wouldn't be against that. I think it'd be I think it'd be difficult, and I'm not sure if they would go that route because of naturally people are going to say, well, what are you going to do with that when you have the movies? But like so if they go that way, I wouldn't mind. But like yeah, seeing Radcliffe in the future might not be too bad either.
Yeah. I mean, I want to push to the future in this franchise. Fantastic Beasts is so whatever to me. Like they're fine. There's some interesting lore things happening there, but I want to see the franchise push forward, and I don't really know if prequels can do that anymore. And frankly, for a franchise as big as Harry Potter, I think there should be way more content than there is. You know what I mean? Think about Star Wars and the amount of freaking shows, games, so on and so forth we're getting and have already got. And I think Harry Potter needs to play a bit of catch up, to be honest, because it's got a very similar level of potential. So I'd love to see Radcliffe, but even if it's not him, like just some future story would be neat.
I just think but when you're in that wizarding world, I feel like you're kind of limited by like how much you can show, like because like Hogwarts, the Hogwarts we're shown in the Harry Potter films, and like the 1930s New York, they still feel very similar because it is like that magical world. So I'm not sure how much changing the time period is going to change.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I just want to push forward into new narrative possibilities, I guess. I don't want to be tied down by, sure, the idea of doing like a Tom Riddle series Voldemort would be like, I'd watch it, but I don't want to be tied down by that stuff anymore, by Dumbledore and by these pre-existing characters in the past. I want to move forward. I want to show me some new cool characters, some aura characters. But how do you feel about it, Fitzy?
They should do a Ravenclaw. It's about time they did a Ravenclaw character.
Yeah. Are you a Ravenclaw? Is that why you say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But I mean, they've done Hufflepuff with Newt. That was okay, but not the best, They've obviously done Gryffindor and Slytherin, so let's give Ravenclaw a chance.
Hashtag give Ravenclaw a chance. Get it trending, people. Yeah. All right. Very good. Whole world of possibilities there, I guess. Fitzy, tell me about this Godzilla vs. Kong trailer that just came out. Well, just came out a few days ago, whenever it was. How'd you feel about it?
Oh, it looks pretty fun. I hope it's mainly there's more like action scenes between Godzilla and Kong, unless I hope it focuses more on the action than the story and the dialogue and everything, because I think that's the selling point of this film. The trailer seemed like biased towards Kong. Like it made Godzilla out as the bad guy. which kind of makes me want to root for him a bit. So
I think he is. I think. Well, yeah. I think Godzilla is the antagonist from what I gathered from it.
right, but why is that? Is it just because he's stronger? Like, is that the reason?
I don't know. I guess they wanted to choose one of them. I guess, but I don't know. I mean, they have Kong captured. I guess from Skull Island. Haven't seen it, but that makes sense. And then, yeah, I guess because they have him in custody, it sort of makes sense for them for human beings to use him. And human beings have to be on the good side, of course.
I think it's going to be a BVS situation where they team up against the big bad at the end.
Yep, 100%.
Like it can't be anything else. Like really. And we're shown like glimpses of like a mecha Godzilla, so I think like that's probably going to be like what they're going to team up against or whatever. And especially like if you know the narrative, like I know you guys haven't, but like the narrative of the first two Godzillas doesn't set Godzilla up as a bad guy at all. So like it feels like a weird shift. So I mean, like, like there's only one way this film can go, and that's just like they're gonna have a bit of a brawl, you know, some Bessies just beefing a bit, and then they're gonna and then they're gonna team up.
They realise both their parents' names are Martha.
Yeah.
And, like they say in the trailer, there's that character is like, you know, something is disturbing Godzilla, which is probably just like the mecha Godzilla. So, I mean, yeah, it's probably gonna go that way.
Yeah. I saw some like other, I don't know, dragons or some other creatures in the trailer. I think briefly. So I guess they can. Yeah.
But that was a part of the King of the Monsters stuff. And, like,
was it?
And like they explain like what they're up to and stuff.
Okay, cool. But I mean, if we are following the Batman vs Superman formula, I 100% agree with you, Jad.
So who's going to be the Wonder Woman of the film then?
Oh my god, no! I wasn't taking it there, but like, yeah, Is there some other dumb monster character?
Yeah, there's plenty.
Oh, okay. I don't know any of them.
But I agree with Liam. I hope there's not too much human drama and it's more just big fuck off monsters fighting.
Yeah. Regardless, though, Batman vs Superman, right? Technically, Batman won. You know what I mean? So who's going to technically win, even though they are going to team up?
King Kong will technically win.
Take the W, yeah? Okay.
Oh, did Batman win because he had Superman?
He had him beat, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Martha, of course, yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like Batman is like the underdog, but the movie then makes Superman look like the bad character because he's not the underdog. But then that would make you want to root for him. It's like the same thing with like Godzilla versus Kong. You know, it's like Kong is the underdog, but because they're making Godzilla into the bad guy, it makes me want to go for Godzilla. You know. But then the movie is probably going to make Kong win, like they made Batman win. So yeah.
We'll see.
Isn't Kong like? Is he supposed to have like super intelligence or something like? Is that part of his character? Or am I just
don't know.
I don't know. Idea. I mean, it might make sense. He's a giant monkey, so possibly, but.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I suppose. I'm going to pick Godzilla just to be different. All right, to have some sort of wager here. Godzilla's going to win.
But Liam picked Godzilla too, didn't he?
Did you, Fitzy?
Well, I want Godzilla to win.
Who's your prediction, though?
I think Kong, if they actually do have a situation where one of them is beating the other, I think they'll have Kong win, but I want Godzilla to win.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It says one will fall, so like one of them's probably going to die and then get revived.
Yeah, and get a black suit, yeah.
Yeah.
We will talk about this Great Gatsby television program also in development. I don't know anything about the Great Gatsby. I think you guys are semi-experts, I guess, because you've seen the movie. That makes you more than me. But we've got the Vikings showrunner taking charge of this. Do we know? Is there a network for this? Is this a HBO thing? Is this any ideas?
Hold on, let me bring up the IGN article.
But Fitzy, does this franchise have potential to be a great show? Do you think?
I don't know. Maybe a miniseries. I don't know.
It's for A&E.
A&E?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not what I expected.
So is there any casting or?
No, like it's like the news only broke like a few days ago about like they're going to start writing soon or something like that.
either of you guys seen Vikings or any indication if that's a positive sign for the show? Or if it...
I haven't seen it, but I know like Vikings is super beloved.
Okay. I've been put off because I've sort of heard negative things,
What?
to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, especially as I've sort of heard the similar critiques that I get from Walking Dead is that it never ends, and I even though I think it did end just very recently, but
because
it's
like
really long and
the people that I know like that have spoke to about it, like they have nothing but praise for it. I guess it's, I mean, like obviously, I mean, like it's just difference of opinion and shit. Like, but yeah, okay.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was curious because I like The Last Kingdom a lot, and they're literally pretty much the same thing. So, well, they're not, but you know what I mean. The same time period, similar. I think there's actual character overlap.
Mm.
So, that's why I was interested in it, but I don't know. It is long.
Isn't it 7 seasons? 8, 7?
Yeah, but a lot of them are 20 episode seasons.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
That's fucked now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all.
Well, Jane, what's your highlight of the week?
No, I'll talk about the Sentinel. It's this 1977 horror film. And it's just really great. It's a bit on the lesser known side, which is unfortunate because like I mean I guess like it is overshadowed like that year, especially because like Suspiria and stuff like that. But like it's about this model working in New York, and she buys a new apartment, and like some dodgy shit happens, of course. But it's just that the way the story unfolds is so adverse to what you'd usually expect. And like it is just quite unpredictable in the way it resolves itself, and it really is kind of phenomenal in that aspect. But like also like just like in general, like the acting is of a really high quality, and like the effects are cool and like stuff. There is something towards the end that modern day standards wouldn't allow, but like we can look over that. But like it is just a really great movie, and as much as it is a horror, it is also like it does lean into like this crime and like this thriller aspect, because like there is a bit of an investigation into some of the stuff, and like one of the characters is a lawyer and he looks into that, so like there is this it is very a two-sided movie where you got this kind of horror story unfolding, and you've also got this investigation that's ongoing, and it's they blend quite nicely. So that was pretty great.
Very nice. Do you have anything, Jen? Zach?
I could talk about Night Stalker on Netflix. It's this documentary series, these true crime series. These have become a bit of a trend, I think. These are pretty popular these days on Netflix. But I know it's about the Night Stalker. I don't know, this dude, you may know, he killed people back in the 80s in LA.
Oh, my parents are watching that. That's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's only 4 episodes, so it's an easy get through. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed myself generally. I think sometimes the art when you're creating this kind of documentary that is just using interviews and images and real world stuff. The real art of nailing it is choosing what to and what not to include and how to include it is sort of what you've got to nail. And it doesn't always nail it for me. There are some points where I'm like, that 10-minute sequence felt very irrelevant. I don't really understand why I needed to hear that. Sort of felt like I was just padding for time. And then the first episode in particular, I found pretty slow in terms of setting the scene for this. But when you're in the midst of it, in terms of the retelling of this dude and what he's up to, it gets pretty intense, and it paints a pretty grim picture of LA. Not that that's a place I'd ever want to live in the first place, but that certainly put me off way more. So I don't know, I sort of liked it in that way. Yeah, it's pretty decent. I'd recommend it if you're into that sort of thing.
Well, mine is I finished rewatching the Irishman. So I
finished rewatching it.
Yeah, well, I watched the first hour 20 minutes like a week or two ago, and then I forgot about it, and then
it's like a season of television.
Yeah, did you see like people like when they first released it, they made a breakdown where you can watch it in like 50-minute episodes?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's cool.
That actually it does make a bit of sense in terms of because you don't meet Hoffa for a while, so you can watch the first hour 20, just on its own, then watch the rest later. But yeah, I think that like 2/3 of the film is like great, like just really solid stuff, and for the last hour, the last third of the film is just like incredible. In terms of the well, I don't want to go into spoilers, but like just the effects of what Frank has done on his life and him going into old age, and yeah, like I think it's stuck with me since it first came out, since I first watched it, just that last stretch, and like as a film, I kind of associate concepts of like I kind of associate concepts of like aging and regret like very heavily with this film. Like I can recognize these things in
Fuck, sorry.
You're right. You're right.
Sorry.
That was what we experienced last week from your Transformer
man.
sound.
That was scary.
It really was. It really was. Yeah. It'll be me next week. Something will happen in here.
Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. So like these same kind of things in The Godfather, like they're really cool, but this is something that I guess just sticks to me more. And yeah, it's a really sad movie, and I mean, and obviously I like the acting, the soundtrack, and everything all great and everything, but yeah, the last hour was just what I really love about the film.
That 3.5 hour runtime is so daunting. Like that's why I still haven't watched it. It's just, I mean,
yeah, I agree.
It's massive.
It really is.
And because because it is pretty like well regarded critically, and like I keep on thinking like I'm not in the right mindset to put myself to 3.5 hours. Because, you know, I need to be in a good mindset to be able to like watch and enjoy it. And like it's yeah.
I mean, I think I put like a whole day aside just to watch it when I first saw it. Like I was starting in the morning. I'll be finished, at 7 o'clock at night.
If it's any help, I personally found it very engaging and didn't drag for me whatsoever. Okay. I wasn't sitting there like 2.5 hours in like Jesus, another hour to go. I didn't personally experience that.
Yeah, that's so frightening though. Just
yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Maybe we should watch it tonight with the boys.
Alright, so last week's question was, what is a movie you've had to force your way through? Andy said, the film that I had to force my way through, Troy, 2004. Maybe because I've already read the book Ransom, probably because it was too long, ? Nevertheless, I wasn't a fan of the direction, the pacing, and it's pretty forgettable. Thoughts? That's funny, didn't Alex also say Troy for like one of his answers?
Yeah, that's a very different reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us have seen this film, right?
No, I've seen it.
I have.
Yeah. I agree with him. Like it's fine. In all aspects. I mean, like it's nothing amazing. But yeah, forcing myself way through, I wouldn't consider. But like, yeah.
Well, it is like very long, isn't it? Like 3 hours or something.
Was it? I don't recall it being that long. But perhaps my memory just chooses not to remember it.
Luke McNamara said, "What a horrible movie. Should I even say it? I'm sure you know by now my fervent hatred for Birds of Prey and the fantabulous, exhaustingly long story of Harley Quinn. The idea of Birds of Prey had such potential, but DC wanted so badly to have a discount Deadpool that they created this abomination of a film. I recall moments in the cinema where I seriously considered leaving, but I forced myself to watch the whole thing. I'm so upset with how they used the Black Canary and Huntress character."
I must say, if this for Luke is like the worst movie ever, like I respect it, I didn't love it, but I understand on some level. I also sort of envy him that this is the worst thing he's ever seen. I've seen a lot worse than this, so I've had to experience a lot, especially on this show.
It's not necessarily his worst. It's one that he had to force himself through.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I don't know if I can ever force my way through a film I'm seeing in the theater. You know, I've committed to the theater. I'm no part of me is leaving a theater. The concept of me walking out of the theater is so foreign to me. I know it's like something people do. Apparently, I see people say they do it online. I've never seen anyone do it. I've never done it. Don't know.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it through if I'm in there.
I mean, once I went with my uncle to see the fucking like Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 or something. Just because I thought it was like a cool vampire film. But yeah, he walked out, so I had to walk out with him.
Your hand was forced.
What is a movie you've had to force your way through, Zach? You said you got a lot, so I'm interested in what your answer is.
Downsizing. Downsizing is a garbage movie. Absolutely atrocious, dude. I can't believe... I thought the movie was a joke when I watched it, to be honest. I thought it was a parody of itself. It started off, and the premise is semi-interesting, you know? If you've seen the trailer, if you know anything about it, I'm like, okay, cool. And then you're sort of 15 minutes in, and it's sort of weird. There's a few weird moments. You're like, what is... So, okay, all right, Matt Damon, I'll stick with you here. And it becomes just completely bonkers and, racist and hilariously bad moments. And what's his name? Christoph Waltz is in this movie, shockingly. And, I feel like he sort of was semi-aware it was a joke too, because his performance is weird and his character's weird. I think he's like, oh, I'll do that weird movie. There's something to do. I don't know. Nice paycheck. But yeah, downsizing, absolute garbage.
Was that one of the cinema experiences you had to force yourself through, or was that...
No, that was very much a Netflix experience.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of turning off a movie halfway through.
Yeah, so...
I can't do it. I wish I could, though. I wish I could, because if I know I'm wasting my time, I wish I could just turn it off, but I always end up coming back to it.
There's only one movie that I haven't gone back to, which is The Other Guys.
Oh, right.
I abandoned quite a few movies. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, even movies I like, I don't know. But, Jane, what's your answer?
Well, I had a few things. I mean, like, sometimes there's movies that I like that I have to force my way through just because, like, the runtime's shit. Like Ben-Hur, which is 4 hours of the biblical story. Like, it's quite good, but, like, it's just way too long. But then, you also have the other stuff, like The Snowman, Michael Fassbender, and just a shit detective adaptation that was just one of the most boring experiences of my life. It's they make serial murder like disinteresting, which is crazy.
That's a feat.
Yeah. Like that's just atrocious. But like also like a movie I was watching last night, Avocado. Like it was so the act like it's. Wait, like so 98% of the movie is just hysterical wailing by women, and like it's unwatchable. It's like I don't care how good your story is, your set design, your costume. When 98% of your movie is just screaming, why would I want to watch it? But because of what it was and my dislike of turning shit off, I had to force my way through that, and it's just painful.
My answer, so usually. Yeah, like usually if I'm gonna watch something, I like just look at, Letterboxd or IMDb, just ratings and reviews and stuff like that. I did my research. So this one time I thought, okay, let's just put on a random film from Prime Video. Just like go to Prime and press play on something. And it was a big mistake. It was a massive mistake. So the movie it's called Spun. And it's about this like these drug addicts or whatever, and it's one of the most obnoxious films of all time. Like the camera is like acting all spazzy in order to try and recreate the drug experience, but it's really obvious and dumb, and like it's trying to be so edgy and different, but it's like it's copying it's basically copying Requiem for a Dream, but with none of the camera work or cinematography or anything. Just like zoom ins on people's face, backwards and forwards, and like random shots of like shooting people's arm and stuff. It's such an ugly film as well. Like I can't even explain it. It's just like it's disgusting. It reeks of like it just smells. It's a film that smells really bad, and maybe that's like a good. Like I thought of this, like maybe that's a positive. Maybe like all this disgusting sense from the movie was like an achievement, but like, I didn't care. It was just too much. And I mean, there was hardly any real script anyway. And yeah, I mean, it's so random as well. There's like these random cartoon bits which don't fit the movie at all, and they're like really
that sounds
amateur.
familiar.
No, but yeah, it's trash. Jason Schwartzman's in it, which is one of the things that stops it from being the worst film ever. But no, yeah, I haven't done that since. And I actually was like, I had to force my way through it because I turned it off like 20 minutes in. But I was like, no, I picked this. I'm gonna watch it all. And I mean, there is one monologue of the film I actually like, which I kind of hate that I like a part of the film. I kind of wish I didn't, but I do like one part of it. The one like 2-minute section, but what a shit ass film. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Wait, what is next week's film? I have no idea. War of the Worlds? Next week's film is War of the Worlds. Steven Spielberg. And you can find that one on Stan. So give that a watch. It's Jaden's favorite movie. Favorite sci-fi movie. Yeah, leave a comment to this week's question, which I haven't read yet, have I?
No, you read at the start.
No, I did.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. Do I still sound like shit?
Yeah.
God damn it. Oh well. I was just going to make a comment that I love that we never, indicated to anyone that Fitzy was going to host it this week. So we just come in and everyone's just surprised. It's just what you get what you get.
Well,
He's done a great job.
Someone asked for it in like the survey, so like one person's going to be pretty pleased, right?
He's going to be pleased, but surprised though still nonetheless, you know. But it's good. I just like leaving our audience in the dark and not telling them anything.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, me, guys.
No worries. I'm very happy to.
I'm not.
Oh, really? Do you want to talk?
This will be my last episode.
Yeah, and done after 44. It's a good number to tap out on.
Well, okay, Zach and I were happy to be here, but see ya. Goodbye.